Welcome to Christmas from the North Pole, Christmas Countdown from Geek, Alabama. Join us every day during the Christmas season where we talk about stories from the North Pole and Santa Claus. And here to tell your stories is your host, Nathan Young. Welcome to Christmas from the North Pole, Christmas Countdown. In today's episode, I wanted to talk about how the elves and Santa up in the North Pole get their news. Which is important because the elves, Santa, anyone living there, they want to know what's going on at the North Pole. But they don't want a lot of their info to be leaked out to the entire world because they don't want millions of people coming up to the North Pole and slamming all their services and infrastructure and everything. So the North Pole has its own small newspaper. And this newspaper is not on the internet. They can't put it on the internet because the whole world will see it. So it's only printed there and delivered to the elves' home and Santa Claus. Now, the North Pole newspaper is all stacked with elves that know how to do journalism, media, photography, videography, writing, you name it. And they even have their own little podcast that's only heard at the North Pole as well. But these elves, they tried to put out a newspaper 2 to 3 times a week. There's not enough information to do one every day. They go out and interview what good stories elves are doing outside of the toy workshop. Because the elves have other things they do outside of making toys all the time. And they interview the big guy himself, Santa Claus, quite a few times throughout the year to give updates about the Christmas season, the big Christmas flight, and anything that's going on with Santa or Mrs. Santa Claus. Same for the reindeer. They can't interview the reindeer, but they can go take photography and photos and see how they're training for the big flight. The elves, Santa, and for the few people that live in the North Pole, they're very appreciative of the North Pole newspaper because it's a good way to stay connected with the local community up there and know what's going on and what's coming up and any big news that happens. So, next time you're at the North Pole, just know you'll get a local North Pole newspaper with all the community happenings and news that's happening at the North Pole. But don't leak it out to the rest of the world because we don't want anybody around the world to know about what the elves are doing in their personal lives, you know. Thank you all for watching and listening. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition of Christmas from the North Pole, Christmas Countdown. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for listening to Christmas from the North Pole, Christmas Countdown. For more stories, articles, and podcasts, please log on to geekalabama.com.